Fixtures can be used for shared context in your xUnit tests, but you might be causing unnecessary overhead if you're not using them. This video will show you how to use fixtures so you can use a shared context across your unit tests. If you have shared logic for each of your unit tests in a test class, what a lot of developers will do is they'll put it into the constructor. That's what we're doing here. So we've got a product list. We're reading contents from a file and storing those contents into the product list. We've then got a couple of unit tests before we dispose of the products. Now the issue with this is that the products test constructor will run for each of the unit tests. This presents an unnecessary overhead if you could use the same context for each test. Could there be a way of sharing the context across multiple tests? Before we have a look at that, just a reminder that when you subscribe, you'll be notified for any new .NET videos that are released on this channel. What we need to do is to set up a fixture class. This is what we've done here. If we go back to our product tests class, we're going to move the logic from the constructor into the constructor of the product fixture class. We can also do the same for the dispose. So all that's doing is resetting the products list. So if we have a look at this in a bit more detail, this is just a product record with an ID and a name property. This goes through it and it reads the contents from this file. So we've got this CSV file and it's a list of products. It will then use the CSV helper NuGet package. So we've added that to our xUnit project. It will convert those records into a product list so we can use it throughout the fixture. xUnit provides class and collection fixtures, and we'll have a look at class fixtures first. This is where you have a shared setup for all your unit tests in a single test class. We set up a new test class, and to make this a class fixture, we need to implement the IClassFixture interface, and we need to pass in the fixture class that we set up earlier within it. As a result of doing that, we can then inject the product fixture instance into the constructor of the test class. And we can store it in a private read-only field. So if we create that with a type of product fixture, and we can call it product fixture, and then we set the private read-only field to the parameter that's been passed in the constructor. That means that we can use that instance across all our xUnit tests. We're now going to write a couple of tests. So when we set up the product fixture, we had 10 products in there. So we want to verify that that's passed through to the product fixture products property. So for that, we can call assert.true, and we get the instance of the product fixture. Within the product fixture, we've got the products property, which is being set down here. We can verify that the count is equal to 10. We're also going to write a couple of other unit tests as well. So we go into the product helper. We're going to be writing unit tests for this method. All this is doing is it's getting the list of products where the name is a certain value. So for this, we can get a single instance. So we can call product fixture, products, get by name, where the name is watch. So if we have a look at the CSV file, we only expect one instance to be returned on that. And we can write a couple of other assert methods as well. So we can verify that the ID is going to be 1, and we can also verify that the name is going to be watch. And we can also do another test down here. So we can say the assert is empty if we call the products get by name with the name being ABC. Because if we ever look at the CSV file, there's no product names that are equal to ABC. By adding a class fixture to your test class, you'll only run the logic in the fixtures constructor once, regardless of how many tests you've got. We can prove that by adding a breakpoint, and then we're going to debug the tests. So it's running the fixtures constructor there. And it's passed all the tests, so it's only run that once. When you download the code example, you can try out the fixtures mentioned in this tutorial. Go to roundthecode.com/examples to do that. There's also a link for it in the YouTube video description. Sometimes you need to use a shared context across multiple test classes, and you can use a collection fixture to do that. To set up a collection fixture, you need to set up a new empty class and implement the ICollectionFixture interface, passing the product fixture type as the generic type. We then need to use the collection definition attribute and give it a name. We're going to give it a name of product collection. And that's all we need for this class. Set up this test class as a collection fixture. We need to use the collection attribute and give it the same name that was in the empty class. So it's called product collection. We'll copy and paste that into there. Notice as well that the attribute in the test class is slightly different to the one in the empty class. As a result of doing that, we can then inject the product fixture into the constructor of the test class. And we can store it in a private read-only field. So we'll set that up, give it a type of product fixture, and then call it underscore product fixture. And we'll set that field to the parameter that's been passed through in the constructor. We can then write a unit test for that. If we have a look in the product helper, we've got this method where we're returning a product based on the ID. So if we have a look in the CSV file, the product ID of 3 is ring. We're going to call assert.single, and we'll call that method from the product fixture. So we get the product's property and the getById method where the ID is 3. And we can write a couple of tests within that. So make sure that the ID is 3 and that the name is ring. We've set up another test class. To use it in the same collection fixture, we need to decorate it with the collection attribute and the same name. So we'll add that to the class definition. As a result of that, we can then inject the product fixture into the test class. So we'll copy and paste the read-only field, and we'll inject it into the constructor, and then we'll set it to the private read-only field so we can use it with our unit tests. Then we'll write a unit test. So for this, we're going to be getting a product based on the name. So we'll do our ring product again that we just did. So we can call assert.single. We can get the products list from the products fixture and call the getByName method where the name is ring. You can write a couple of other assertions as well. Make sure that the ID is 3 and that the name is ring. When you download the code example, you can try out the fixtures mentioned in this tutorial. Go to roundthecode.com/examples to do that. There's also a link for it in the YouTube video description. To prove that the product fixtures constructor will only run once, despite the fact that we have multiple test classes, I'm going to add a breakpoint to the constructor and debug the tests. So it's run there, and the tests have finished and passed, so it's only run once. Beware of modifying anything in the shared context, as it could break other tests. For example, if you were to add a new product in the list product type for one of the unit tests, it could break another unit test that counts the number of elements contained within it. Did you know that xUnit has over 30 assert methods? And if you want to know what they are, watch this video next. To download the code example for this tutorial, go to roundthecode.com/examples. There's also a link for it in the YouTube video description. Leave any comments that you have about fixtures in xUnit, and I'll see you on the next video.